and we'll fill for a minute, and then we'll start the podcast. I think Brian has lost some esteem he had for both of us since we've wasted the precious popped corn there, Mike.
Yeah,
I forgive you.
Well, that's very generous of you.
Dirk doesn't eat popcorn, or has been muted, or doesn't care. It's probably that last one.
I don't really care. I do eat popcorn, but yeah.
Brian has a popcorn problem. For those that don't know, Brian has a popcorn problem like I have an ice cream problem. I don't think Brian recognizes it as a problem, but it's a problem.
And I get where you're coming from. So.
Yeah, the first step is admitting it, and he's not there yet.
Exactly, yeah. I think the popcorn problem is not as bad as the ice cream problem, because, ice cream. Renee actually was complaining about her, because I've called her an enabler the whole time we've been dating, because I'd finally, basically kicked my ice cream problem, and Renee also has an ice cream problem. So now there's always ice cream in my freezer. Because the freezer in the fridge at her house doesn't work. So if she wants ice cream, she has to get it and eat it then, or have it here. And she found her Halloween costumes from last year, because she's working at Spirit currently. So for the last, several days, the lead up, she's going to wear a costume at work every day.
That's fun.
And she was like, "Oh, I found this whatever. It's like a flapper dress." And then I hear her going, and she goes, "Nope, I can't wear this. Oh no, my ice cream enabling is catching up with me." I was like, "Ha!
Ah!
Consequence." But anyway, that's probably good for filling. So here we go. Hopefully she won't hurt me.
I'm gonna say one more thing, because I see Chifuji in the comments says there's popcorn flavored ice cream out there somewhere. This has been a thing of mine for forever. Popcorn flavored ice cream is the dream. One day I will achieve it. That's all I want to say about that. But you have no idea.
Luck.
I bring it up with Carrie at least once every 6 months, and over the course of 20 years, that's a lot. So I saw popcorn flavored ice cream in the chat, and I was like, yes. But I'm good.
Speaking as someone who loves ice cream and who likes popcorn. But okay, here we go for real. Oh, jam! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 688 of the Mana Pool. I checked. And I am Chewy. If you're watching the video version of this, you'll notice that the background is a dinosaur in armor. Because what could be more awesome? Well, if it had a ninja riding on it and it was shooting lasers, I guess it would be more awesome, but...
I mean, it's no dragon vampire, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Or that's a vampire dragon, sorry.
I mean, whichever.
It has certain draconic attributes. Hey, I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler and tangent master of the group, and I'm here to talk about things.
Lots of things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy, and I'll take my lead from Brian and continue to discuss those things.
Nice.
And Dirk is muted.
No, I'm trying not to be gross and loud and everything. So I'm the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. If I sound amazingly awful, it's because my sinuses are very clogged right now, so you guys will have to forgive me for that.
It's cool. You just sound like a kid. Like the stereotypical kid voice, you know? Hey Bester. Hey Bester.
The snot-nosed kid.
Yeah, exactly. Except, you know, he's a snot-nosed middle-aged guy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's a lot to talk about this episode. So we're just gonna go. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Oh, one more thing. Bit of news related to the before show banter. Sent a quick text to Ashley, also as a person who very much likes ice cream and popcorn, about her opinion of popcorn flavored ice cream, and her response was, "Ew."
Oh,
I knew I liked her for some reason.
oh. We were getting along so well, too. That's all right.
Now, if you want to know what that whole conversation's about, it was not recorded. You should have come to the live stream. I'm very sorry. So, there's a lot going on this week. Let's start with something that is huge news, but not actually that much to talk about, weirdly. And it is an announcement from, yesterday. As of this recording. We're recording on a Tuesday this week, which is a little weird for us, but it's because of scheduling difficulties. And we might do it on Tuesday next week, if everyone's able. No, because next week is Halloween. We will not. Never mind.
We had a discussion.
I forgot that there was an end of that conversation that we had.
I looked at the calendar, yeah.
And Mike's going to go be a music snob, so he wouldn't make it anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, yes, to the second part, not the first.
But yeah, there was a big announcement yesterday that there's going to be Marvel magic stuff. That's literally it.
Yeah.
We don't know what, but the Universes Beyond thing, Marvel. And what weirds me, okay, I'm gonna call someone out from the Discord, not by name, but like as soon as this was posted in the Discord, immediately someone in the Discord went, "Oh my God, is Disney gonna buy Hasbro?" And I was like, "What the hell? Where did that come from?" What? No? And then I sneezed because that was so ridiculous. But it was immediate. And I went, what? And then other nerds joined in. We're like, well, that could be I'm like, what? Nobody asked, is Bethesda buying it when they did Fallout? Or...
No.
Is the BBC gonna buy Hasbro? Why would you immediately jump to, is Disney gonna buy Hasbro? Because of a collaboration that they're doing with literally anyone that will give them money. Like who have we had collaborations with already? AMC for The Walking Dead, Netflix for Stranger Things, the Tolkien Estate, whatever that's called. The BBC for Doctor Who. I assume the BBC is who owns all that. I don't know. Bethesda for what is that thing we're going to talk about in a minute? Fallout. I know there's more.
Games Workshop.
It's Games Workshop for Warhammer. So it just weirds me out that was like an immediate response, and then other nerds, like I said, jumped in and were like, "Oh, well, it could be what? No, why would stop?
Well,
stop."
Of all those other outfits, Disney definitely has the money.
True, but
and a habit of buying things. So,
yeah,
what's it?
I think I just read that they're getting ready to sell off their business in India, for whatever reason. Disney is.
Yeah, that would be part of their streaming service.
Weird.
Because the market in India, whatever the Disney Plus version of it over there, that's where they're losing money hand over fist.
Yeah, because they can't carry. Was it Cricket? on Disney Plus anymore, so like everybody in India unsubscribed.
Really?
It was something like that. It happened a while back, but all of the right-wing idiots were like, She-Hulk is bad because woman. We're like, look at all the subscribers Disney Plus is losing. And it's like, it's because everyone in India unsubscribed because of cricket or whatever the sport is.
It would be cricket.
Yeah, chat said it was a cricket deal for India. So yeah, that's why they were losing millions of subscribers. It wasn't because She-Hulk was led by a woman. But anyway, that's the only reason I know about that. But anyway, yeah, the announcement says, well, it's literally a press release, so it's not going to be, there's not going to be a whole lot of information here. But it said something, oh, I don't see it on this press release. But yeah, it said that there's going to be like a first tentpole product for the collaboration, which I assume means that there will be more than just whatever the first thing is, which surely it'll be a full set like Lord of the Rings or Final Fantasy. But yeah, all of the stuff that we have been talking about over the years is happening. Like, hey, what would his superheroes look like as magic cards? Well, we're going to find out. Would Spider-Man have reach? I guess we'll see soon.
That was the name of that episode, yeah.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. The announcement is a video, and it's just, oh, look, kids love Marvel, and they love comics, and there's only one word for it. And magic, and someone picks up a card that says Magic the Gathering on the back, and I was like, oh, that's adorably gross. And that's the whole video. I've just summed it up for you. You saved yourself 58 seconds.
Nice.
But because this is just becoming public, it's not like there was an example card or anything. Like, I don't think any of that's been made. I think this is all just starting now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not seeing anything here, but I think the first thing is supposed to come out. Was it 2025? Maybe? I can't remember. I'm very sorry.
I don't know. I haven't spent 58 seconds. So.
Oh, it wasn't even in the video. This was in an announcement apparently somewhere else. It can't even be bothered to put it in the announcement here. 2025. Okay, thank you, Razorback. So there you go. Marvel Magic. Expect a bunch of Marvel Snap jokes. Anybody still playing Marvel Snap, by the way? Like, as far as you guys go?
I am not. I saw that it looks like DC has now made their own Marvel Snap. I saw an ad for it.
You mean a DC Snap?
What'd I say?
You said DC's made their own Marvel Snap. Like, I don't
I
think they have.
I mean, their take on Marvel Snap. So.
Oh, so it's not like HeroClix. It's not Snap, but with DC. It's a separate.
I saw an ad for what appears to be a mobile game based around a CCG or something for DC.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like yeah. So that's why I say I have not played it. I don't know how derivative it's not. Maybe it's super unique, but anyway.
All right, then. So that's the Marvel announcement thing.
Done. Good night, everybody.
Yeah. I'm going to go eat popcorn now. DC Dual Force, Chifuji says.
Okay.
Wait, is it dual D-U-A-L or D-U-E-L?
Like it's time to...
Yeah, is it time to duel, or are there two of us? Oh, it's on Steam and Epic right now? Oh, wow. Cool. Anyway. So, let's do a quick look at this other thing. Whoops. Haha. So, wrong one. There we go. They've done a first look at the Fallout stuff which we're getting. It's Fallout. It's just commander decks, right? And
believe so.
Collector's boosters, of course. But they did a first look. Now, this doesn't come out until March of next year, but because they can't go 20 minutes without showing something for something that's coming up soon. This was just a couple days ago, and then Ixalan preview started today, because of course they did. But I figured So I am all about Fallout. Weirdly, I've only played Fallout 3, but I've like kept up with the lore and the world and the gameplay and stories and all that for the Fallout franchise. And I asked the dorks, how do any of you guys care about Fallout? And two of them were like, nope. And Dirk was like, I do. So hey Dirk, how much Fallout have you played?
I've played 3, New Vegas, 4, and that's it.
I was gonna say, please tell me you didn't play 76.
I did not.
Good job.
How many Fallouts have there been?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tactics. New Vegas. 76 was the MMO. So that many plus possibly other spin-off-y things.
Yeah, like little mobile ones like Vault. Fallout Vault.
Yeah.
Where it's like a vault survival.
Like base building type game.
Yeah, something like that.
So, here are some of the cards. Now, I really only want to talk about a couple of these just because I think they're really neat.
Yeah.
But, like, these alternate art borderless ones are... What is this character's name, Dirk? My brain, because it's Fallout, my brain wants to call him Fallout Boy. And I know that's not right because that's a band.
Is it called Vault Boy?
Is it Vault Boy? Okay.
I thought it was something Pip, but
no, the Pip Boy is...
Pip Boy is the thing he has on his wrist.
Yeah, the thing in Arcane Signet, that's a Pip Boy.
Ah, maybe that's why I thought, okay.
And also the name of the code for the set is Pip, which I think is cute. But, like, for instance, if you will direct your attention to Nuka-Cola vending machine, this is amazing. So... in the post-apocalyptic world of Fallout, money, like money that you and I use or used to use because who uses cash anymore? I actually used cash to buy Taco Bell a few days ago and it was weird. But is meaningless. It's just a thing that you can find around. But what they actually use for currency are bottle caps. No, I don't know why. It just is. Just go with it. Shut up. And whenever you find a bottle of Nuka-Cola, when you drink it, you get the bottle cap as currency. So you get the health from the drink and probably some radiation because everything's irradiated. And then you get +1 cap added. And so Nuka-Cola vending machine is an artifact that costs 3, and you pay 1 and tap to create a food token, because it just vended you a Nuka-Cola. And whenever you sacrifice a food, you create a tapped treasure token. Because when you drink the Nuka-Cola... oh, what have I done? When you drink the Nuka-Cola, you get currency.
Yep.
That's so cool!
It seems strong.
Like what I always forget what all these things cost. What does a food cost to use?
2.
Well, food is 2 tap and sack, but there are plenty of other effects that just say sacrifice of food to do something else.
True. And even more things that say sacrifice an artifact.
Plenty of other ways to sacrifice artifacts or tokens.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is flavorfully just a bullseye. Like that's amazing. I didn't even think about the actual power level of the card because create a food token, whatever. But create a food token and then get treasure. You're right. That's really good.
Yeah, I didn't know about the bottle cap currency thing, so when I first read this, it seemed kind of backwards, but now it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because it's top down.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the Crucible of Worlds being the Gek. The Gek is the Garden of Eden creation kit, which is essentially like a terraforming thing. It's what you're looking for in Fallout 2.
3.
And you need to find one in 3 also. But it's Crucible of Worlds where you can bring lands back from the graveyard to bring life back from the dead, bring the land back from the dead. So that's really cool. And of course Wasteland is here because that's what
very thematic.
Yeah, that's what the world is called. Like Fallout 3 took place in DC. It was called the Capital Wasteland. Like I think most of them are called the something Wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
And then this version of Command Tower in Fallout 4, it had a building mechanic where you could build structures, and this is very clearly just some crap that was slapped together as a tower, and that makes me happy. And then the Arcane Signet is the Pip-Boy, and Soul Ring is the light coming from the newly opened vault door. So like I love these the flavor on these alternate art cards with Vault Boy on them. Yay.
Nice.
So Dirk, you got to tell us about dog meat. Like in the game, like who's dog meat?
Dog meat is one of the first companions you get in Fallout 4.
I think dog meat's been in, if not all of them, then most of them as a follower you can get.
Yeah. But yeah, he's one of the first creatures you come across. He's he can carry stuff. He can attack things. You know, he's a good puppy.
But more importantly, he can go fetch things.
Yep.
So do you feel like reading dog meat there, Dirk?
Sure.
Okay.
So dog meat, ever loyal. Red, green, white. He's a 3/3 legendary creature dog who is, I'm going to assume, mythic.
Yeah.
When dog meat enters...
These 4 cards right here are the commanders.
Okay.
For the commander decks.
So when dog meat enters the battlefield, mill 5 cards, then return an aura or equipment card from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, create a junk token.
So we'll get to the junk token in a second, but like I love that dog meat. Like you make some trash essentially, and then dog meat finds good trash, like something good in the trash, like a piece of equipment. Because that's what he does. You're like, hey, go look over there. And he'll go over there and rummage around and bring you back something good.
Nice.
And then
cool.
The junk token. Okay. So we've talked about this many times. Of the tokens that are like the artifact tokens that do something very specific and how they're sort of color related. Like the clue token is blue because it draws a card, and the food token is white, and the treasure token is green.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Junk is the red one that I really hope ends up in the base game, because the junk token, it's not on here because that would be too easy, but the junk token I'm pretty sure says sacrifice it, exile the top card of your library, you may play it this turn.
So a rummage.
Yeah, it's a 1-card rummage on an artifact token.
Well, I think rummage is discard then draw. This is the
Oh yeah, not
impulse
rummage.
draw.
That weird red
Impulse draw.
other red card draw thing. Okay, here's junk. Tap, sacrifice this artifact, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Activate only as a sorcery. That's important. But I love that as the red token. And I really hope that something like that ends up in the base game, because that's good.
Yeah.
But it's also flavorful, because when you're rummaging through junk, you're either going to find something that you can use, or you're just going to ignore it. And so it's even flavorfully good.
Nice. That's something that they've done really well with these Universes Beyond things, is because everything is top down, it fits well. And honestly, I remember when Mark Rosewater wrote years ago, when they decided they were going to take a more top-down approach to designing Magic sets. I was like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. And these products are kind of that personified, because how many times during the Lord of the Rings set did we say, that works, that works. Shoot, are you still working on your project to get all the Lord of the Rings stuff? Nice.
I've got just shy of 800 cards. Or 800 images to go through. I'm almost done with that part.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Then I get to order them. Then I get to write a script, and then I get to do the recording and the editing. But those are the fun parts. Right now I'm in the tedious crap. But yeah. These are really cool. Madison Lee is the card right next to Dogmeat here. She is, oh god, she's the scientist.
She's the scientist working in Washington D.C. who's trying to get the GEC, so that way they can pump water, like clean the water in the Potomac for free.
Right, she was the one that was working with your dad.
Yep.
Okay. And her deck is obviously going to be artifacts and energy. So Dr. Madison Lee for, what is that? A blue, a red, and a white. Is a 2/3 human scientist who says, whenever you cast an artifact spell, you get an energy. Remember energy? Yeah, you do.
I do.
So you can tap her and pay an energy. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains trample and haste until end of turn. That's really good for 1 energy.
Seems good.
Tap and pay 3 energy, draw a card. Because, she's doing science with all that energy. Yep. Tap and pay 5 energy to return target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Because, you're rebuilding something that broke. And yeah, as chat pointed out ahead of me, that's Liberty Prime in the background in her art, and I really hope there's a Liberty Prime card.
I hope so too.
Liberty Prime is a giant robot that you follow around when you do the assault at the end of Fallout 3. Is Liberty Prime in Fallout 4 somewhere too?
I think yes, but you, spoiler alerts, destroy it.
Yeah. Oh no. But with energy and Liberty Prime being in the background, I'm super excited to see what Liberty Prime does. Because it was the very end of the main story in Fallout 3 is all of a sudden you're traipsing along behind this giant ass robot that's just shooting laser beams and taking out a bunch of Enclave soldiers, and you're like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yep.
So, yeah. The other 2 commanders are Caesar, Legion's Emperor from Fallout New Vegas, and the Wise Mothman from Fallout 76.
Okay, because I'm like, I have no idea what that's from.
Yeah, the Mothman is a big thing in 76, which takes place in West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Mothman, comes from Point Pleasant, West Virginia. So, a couple other cards I wanted to talk about. Oh, this looks like crap. Here are the regular looking cards. Nice. Hey. Let's see. I don't know, Brian.
Yes.
You want to read Over Encumbered?
Over Encumbered. Okay. For 1 and a white, it's an aura. Enchant opponent, so it's kind of like a curse. When it enters the battlefield, enchanted opponent creates a clue token, a food token, and a junk token. So they're carrying too much stuff, aren't they? At the beginning of combat on enchanted opponent's turn, that player may pay 1 for each artifact they control. If they don't, creatures can't attack this combat. I love it.
Yep.
I love it. It's beautiful.
That's fun.
Yeah. Because every Bethesda game has carry weight, and one of the worst things you can see is you're carrying too much to be able to run, or you are over encumbered. So I like that they've turned that into a mechanic. Hey Mike, you wanna read Feral Ghoul?
Yes, let's do that. So, Feral Ghoul is a 2/2 zombie mutant that looks like a rare symbol for 2 and a black. Okay. 2/2 zombie for 2 and a black. We've seen a zillion of these.
Yep.
It has menace. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Feral Ghoul. And then when Feral Ghoul dies, each opponent gets a number of rad counters equal to its power. Ugh.
So.
I think I saw something about rad counters on Facebook a while ago, but I don't remember what it said.
I will tell you. So Feral Ghouls are people who have been over-irradiated so much that they've lost their intelligence. Because there are ghouls who are just, like, gross-looking people. Because, they're super irradiated. But feral ghouls have lost their minds. And I'm guessing that because it's a zombie mutant, I'm guessing it's eating the other creatures that die? Is the flavor there? Which is kind of gross. But feral ghouls, especially the glowing ones, are heavily irradiated. And rad counters, sort of like energy tokens or whatever. Energy counters? What were they called?
I think it's just energy.
Energy counters, I think.
Okay. So, radiation says this. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, if you have any rad counters, mill that many cards. For each non-land card milled this way, you lose 1 life and a rad counter. So your radiation is slowly going away, but it's also slowly killing you. Okay. Which is how it works in Fallout. So you can throw lots of radiation on opponents with the Feral Ghoul. And then, let's see, there was something else. Oh, Idolized. Idolized is a perk in the game. In some of the Fallout games. Perks are things you take when you level up that have some sort of neat effect. And like Idolized, in the showcase cards above, it actually shows you what the perk looks like. But down in the regular art, the flavor text, renowned for your extensive support and goodwill, you are idolized by the community. That's the description of the perk. And so they turned it into flavor text. And then in the showcase card, instead of it being flavor text, it's just got the perk on the in the art, which I just like that. Also, VATS. So VATS in Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4 It's a gameplay mechanic where you can almost stop time. I think time is stopped while you're aiming, but you use your Pip-Boy to target certain enemies and certain parts of enemies, and it'll show you your percentage chance to hit and whatnot.
And what the durability of that limb or everything is. So, like, if their arm could be blown off, it'll show, like, their arms got so much damage so that if you keep attacking it, like, you'll blow their arm off.
Yeah. And you can see in the art for the regular art for VATS, like, the head is highlighted and it's got a 82%, and then this arm shows 55%, and the body shows 95%. You know, that's what VATS looks like. But VATS, the card, has split second. Oh, that is so good. But VATS for 2 black is an instant with split second that says choose any number of target creatures with equal toughness, destroy the chosen creatures. And that's because the way VATS works is you line up all of your shots, and you have so many action points, which dictates how many shots you can take. But you're doing, roughly speaking, because you're using the same weapon, you're doing the same damage to each thing you target, pretty much. So that's how that translates into gameplay. Is they all have equal toughness, and you kill them all.
Yep.
And that makes me happy. And then there's Gary. Dirk is giggling.
Yes.
So in the Fallout games, you can go into vaults. Vaults are like big underground
settlements that were set up to save humanity when the bombs dropped. But many of them were used for scientific experiments to test out what happens to humans under certain conditions.
Yeah, Vault Tech is an actual, literal evil corporation. But nobody knew that. They were like, hey, save a place in a vault so that when the bombs drop, you can be safe. And a bunch of people did. And then all of the vaults have something bizarre going on. Mm-hmm. I don't remember which vault Gary is in, but there's a vault you can go to in Fallout 3 where the place has been trashed and everybody you meet is Gary.
And they yell out as they attack you, Gary.
Yeah, and that's all they say.
And it's creepy. So the flavor text saying, Gary, is apt.
Yeah. But then the card itself is Gary is a 1/3 human citizen for 2 mana. But it has an ability called Squad. And Squad 2, which says, as an additional cost to cast the spell, you may pay 2 any number of times. And when this creature enters the battlefield, create that many tokens that are copies of it. So you're making a bunch of Gary clones. And it says, whenever Gary clone attacks, each creature you control named Gary clone gets +1/+0 until end of turn.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and as anyone who's ever been in that vault in Fallout 3 and gotten utterly destroyed when 4 Garys run out of nowhere, and I can't say that on this show.
Kill you.
There we go. Yeah. Then yeah, it's perfect. Gary. So yeah. So those are the cards that I personally wanted to talk about, other than the lands. Would you guys scroll down to the basic lands?
Oh yeah, those are beautiful.
So
that's really cool.
There are 2 lands, or 2 arts for each land. One is a 3D, like Bethesda Fallout game, where the camera is behind your character and they're looking out on some sort of vista. But then the others are isometric art based on Fallouts 1 and 2. and they're all just beautiful.
Yeah, I did not realize that.
So it's so great. And in all but the planes, for the 3D ones, you've got dog meat. So yay. I don't know why you don't have dog meat in the first one. I guess that's almost where you come out of Vault 101, so maybe that's what that's supposed to signify. Or something similar to that.
He is the best boy, is he not?
I don't know. I found dog meat in Fallout 3, and I was like, hey, boy, and he joined my party. And I was like, hey, he became my companion. He became a follower. And I was like, hey, I've got a dog. And then he ran up and attacked, like, some super mutants and died. And I was like, oh.
I had a dog.
That sucks. And so I had no connection to dog meat at all. Like, I didn't realize that dog meat had come from earlier games and was like a staple in the franchise. And then, like, he became like a major part of Fallout 4. And I was like, my dog meat just died because he's an idiot. Like, and I don't know if there was an option to, like, heal him or, like, because I know in Fallout 4 you can, like, you know, give him stim packs when he goes down and whatnot. But in Fallout 3, he just died for me. I don't know. It made me sad.
I'd say after you leave combat, he should come back alive.
In Fallout 3?
Yeah. Because that's what happens with all your companions is when you leave combat, they come back. Their health's is at 1, but they come back, don't they?
I don't think so, no. At least not the one, like... I don't know if anybody in Fallout 3 was marked as, like, any of your followers were marked as essential. I know Fox was really hard to kill, but it was possible.
I'd say it's been a long time since I played 3.
But, yeah. So that's, like I said, I just wanted to, like, talk about a couple of these just because they're fun and flavorful. And also wanted to talk about junk and radiation. Oh, and then there's Radstorm, which is an instant for 3 and a blue that has 2 words on it. Storm, proliferate.
Enough said.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. So if anyone has radiation, you might just be able to kill them. So yeah, this was just the first look. We're gonna get more of this as the months go on. Probably not until like January or February, but it was a first look and it was cute. So, and half of us were aware of Fallout and interested in it. So I figured that's a good number just to do a quick glance and talk about some of the more interesting cards and explain why some of the mechanics are cool.
And I mean, I can't speak for Mike, but honestly, I thought it was more interesting than I thought it would be for me. So yeah.
Yeah. So all right. Today, the previews for the Lost Caverns of Ixalan started, because of course they did.
Apparently the whole story is out. I've started the first story, but I haven't finished it because I haven't really had any time to get into it. But, you know, it takes place in underground Ixalan.
What? So, let's do the mechanics, and then we'll see how much time we have left.
Yep.
So, you guys that haven't said much in a while, you want to tell us about craft?
Mike, why don't you tell us about craft? Just because it's kind of complicated, depending on the craft card. There's cheese and noodles.
I was going to say, so you see, craft is cheese, but Brian beat me to it.
Yes, so all the cards have the blue box. No, they don't.
What?
So
the blue craft box. He's trying to get in on it. He's trying to get in on it. Let him have it.
It didn't work, clearly. So craft is this neat thing where it's taking one of the parts. Its concept here is, taking the find stuff and make better stuff aspect of exploring a world and turn it into cards. So everything with craft is a transforming double face card, and they always start out on the front. They're not the modal ones where you get to choose. They're not day and night ones. They have something else going on entirely. So they started on the front face, and they have some kind of craft ability where you essentially combine them with other things. Not really, but you use other things as resources to activate the ability to make something totally new.
Yeah, it's a crafting system from a video game, but in Magic.
Yes. Yeah, go collect 8 giant rat whiskers and come back here and get a dagger. Sure.
Yeah. Or it's more like, from setting aside the RPG-ness of it, it's more like these, as they're delving down, trying to get to the core, they're like, oh, hey, here's a really neat idol. If I put it on top of my stick, I can smash things real good with my new idol stick.
Idol stick, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and to that point, this first one is a common card called Idol of the Deep King. And it's a common artifact, costs 2 and a red, and has flash. And when it enters the battlefield, it deals 2 damage to any target. And
that's neat.
It's crap. Yeah, that's pretty. 2 damage, 3 mana, not great. Get an artifact on the board that can be useful for stuff. Its craft ability says craft with artifact 2 and a red, and that means you can pay 2 and a red and exile this artifact, and exile another artifact you control, or one in your graveyard.
Oh.
Then you return this card transformed under its owner's control. And you can only craft as a sorcery. So remember, craft with artifact 2 and a red. So pay 2 and a red, exile this, and another artifact. That's the with artifact part. And on the back face is the Sovereign's Machahuitl, I think is how you say that. Machahuitl.
Machahuitl?
Machahuitl. Something like that. It's a
I'm so glad that you're the one pronouncing this and not Brian, because we'd all be just cringing.
It's you might have seen this in games or art or other stuff. It's like a bat-looking thing with a bunch of sharp stone blades stuck in the side. It's pretty wicked looking. But it is an equipment. And when it enters the battlefield, you attach it to target creature you control. The equipped creature gets +2/+0, and it has equip for just 2 mana. So, pretty simple, not game-breaking, but there's a lot of stuff this card does. It's some damage on the front side, and you get to turn it into a reusable equipment on the back face.
Yeah.
So it's it reminds me, speaking of crafting in video games, it reminds me, this card in particular reminds me of Dead Rising. Where, or actually any zombie game with crafting in it, where if you have a bat and you have nails, then you can make a nail bat.
Yep.
So this is, you find the Idol of the Deep King and then some other artifact, and then you get some duct tape and you rig them together and you get this weapon to thwack people with.
Set does have somewhat of a graveyard theme to it, with some of the mechanics we'll get to in a bit. As you're exploring and doing other stuff, stuff is going to the graveyard. So that's why craft does allow you to utilize cards that are in your graveyard. And then another theme for the set is treasure, because Ixalan may have been where the first time we saw treasure tokens. I'm not sure. Maybe that was gold tokens at the time, but no, I think like gold Captain Lannery.
Yeah, gold was used here and there before that point, but they redesigned the concept a little bit and used treasure starting in Ixalan, and it's just been treasure from then on out, basically.
So this marked the beginning of treasure. So hey, if you don't want to be exiling your worm coil engine with for Idol of Deep King, you can, exile your treasure token instead. So something like that. That is a very
no.
that is a very basic craft. This next card they showed on the stream, and they said this is probably one of the most complicated craft cards. Follow with, unless Mike, was there something else you wanted to say about the red one?
Oh, I just didn't know whether I was expected to do both in this section, so I was about to lead in, but go ahead.
It's a lot of words. I was going to give you a break. So, not to mention I can pronounce most of these words. So, the Enigma Jewel. Yeah, the Enigma Jewel costs a single blue, and it enters the battlefield tapped. It's a legendary artifact. It's mythic, and it's a mana rock. You can tap it to add 2 colorless mana, spend it only to activate abilities. So it's kind of like a weird take on a soul ring. Now, craft with 4 or more non-lands with activated abilities, 8 generic and a blue.
What?
Which is just yeah. So let's break the craft, which means, okay, you get how this works. Skip to the end. 8 and a blue. Okay, get that. Now, what you're exiling with this is 4 or more non-lands. So, any planeswalkers, artifacts, whatever, with activated abilities. So, no vanilla creatures, anything like that.
And
do all that.
The Enigma Jewel itself. Don't forget that part.
And correct. That Enigma Jewel, anytime you craft, it has to be this and whatever. So, you're like, wow, this is crazy because it's going to take 5 cards. You flip it over, and it becomes the Locus of Enlightenment. Legendary artifact. It has each activated ability of the exiled cards used to craft it.
Oh.
You may activate each of those abilities only once each turn.
Oh.
Whenever you activate an ability that isn't a mana ability, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. Which is why this is so hard to flip. But on the other side, you can literally play it on turn 1, and it will ramp it'll ramp you. Like turn 1, essentially a soul ring, but you can only use it to activate abilities.
So
go ahead, Chewie.
Hang on. Let's set this up. So let's say the 4 non-lands. It's 4. Yeah, the 4 non-lands that I exile. Say, tap, draw card. Tap, deal 1 damage. Tap, because the mana ability. Oh no, the mana ability still matters. Because it says you may activate each of those abilities. Okay, so let's say it's tap, draw card. Tap, deal 1 damage to something. Tap, I don't know. Does it count itself?
Something.
I don't know. This isn't clear about whether it counts as one of the cards exiled to craft it.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
Anyway.
Because it's not remaining. It's not remaining in exile.
But you still exile
it. It's not one of the exiled cards, so here it doesn't matter. Okay.
Ah, that's true. Okay, nailed it.
Figured it out.
So okay, we have tap, draw card, tap, deal 1 damage, tap, I don't know, add a mana of any color, and let's get silly and say a planeswalker.
Sure. Okay.
Like just any. Oh wait, you can't use planeswalkers, can you?
Yeah,
can you use planeswalkers?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a non-land with an activated ability.
You just can't use any loyalty abilities that have a minus to start with because it doesn't have any loyalty to remove, right?
Correct. You have to have the counters to activate the ability. So, yeah.
Yeah, to pay the cost. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you can add loyalty, but you can't remove loyalty until you add it. So let's just say it's original Jace, just for ease sake, okay?
Sure.
So that means every turn Now, they all say tap, so you can't actually activate, except for the loyalty abilities on the Jace. So you can't actually activate all of them.
Right. Maybe something you exiled just has pay 3 mana to do whatever.
Yeah. So I could...
Maybe we exile a basalt monolith that says pay 3, untap this. So
Holy balls.
Maybe you exiled a Shivan dragon and you can give this fire breathing, except it's not a creature, but it gets copied.
Okay, hang on. Let's make this even more complicated. So, let's say I exile 4 things. There's Baby Jace, there's pay some mana, draw a card, there's tap to deal 1 damage, and there's sacrifice a creature to, I don't know, gain life. Or something.
Yeah.
Sure.
So they all have different activations, and I can do each of those abilities once every turn. So I can go Baby Jace, everybody draw a card, and then it gets copied because it's not a mana ability.
Yes.
And then I do
2 cards.
Sacrifice this creature to gain some life, and I gain the life twice because
you paid the cost once.
Yeah,
so,
and we're just copying the ability. And then it's pay some mana to draw a card, but it copies it. So I pay some mana and I draw 2 cards. And then I tap to deal damage. But I deal a damage here, and then I get a copy, so I deal a damage there.
The original Red Kamal, who was a lightning bolt on a stick. Yeah.
So this... Pew, pew. It takes a long time, and I just pulled, 4 random things out of my ass. Oh
my god, Goblin Sharpshooter. Oh.
Well, the untap won't matter on that, right? That's not part of the activated ability, is it? Oh god, is it?
I think that's a triggered ability of Goblin Sharpshooter.
Okay.
That's true.
So it does Locus of Enlightenment doesn't gain it.
Yeah.
Well, and you could only activate this ability once a turn anyway.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I just came up with 4 quick and dirty things off the top of my head just to illustrate how much one card could do if you plan it properly. I didn't do any deck building or planning or actual research. People are going to come up with stupid ass things to do, and it's going to be hilarious.
It's going to be absolutely hilarious. But you have to put so much time and energy and mana into this that... But the funny thing is, the craft ability doesn't require tapping. So you could just play this for a single mana and then pay the 9 if you're all set up.
Yeah. And if you're not, you can tap it for its ability, because... Is craft an activated ability? It is.
Yes, it is.
So you could actually tap this to pay 2 and the craft ability, if you so choose.
Dirk, you with us?
I am.
Do you understand?
Yeah. I'm listening to a lot of this and going, oh.
They had to. Yeah,
I had a headache to begin with, and this is not the thinking about what this thing could do is making my head hurt more.
Well, we can spend more time on it, but the fact is, it's one of those cards that's almost so crazy, it's almost just insert whatever,
Yeah.
But they do have 2 reprints here when they're talking about they transition from craft to just transforming double-faced cards.
Yep.
And we have the Growing Rights of Itlamok and Treasure Map, and both of those are reprints from the original Ixalan set. Mm-hmm. So, and 2 of the really good ones, to be honest.
Yeah, Treasure Map is really cool.
Really cool and fun ones.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
All right.
So all of the transforming double-faced cards are not craft cards. There are others.
Yes,
which is cool.
Others, yes.
Yes.
I really like these little mushroom people here.
There are they previewed a god that turns into a land, kind of like how a lot of the, I think in Ixalan, most of the transforming cards turned into lands, if not all of them.
I think
all of them.
I think they did.
Yeah, that was their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
It's all right. Now we have a whole new ability.
We do. And it's descend, because the characters are descending into the depths of Ixalan.
Well,
descend.
Descended.
Descended, yes.
Which is
it's essentially.
What is the word? It's an act. No. Mike? What is descended?
It's like morbid. Morbid just says, "Hey, did a creature die?" Right?
No, because this is a special kind of vocabulary word. Is this a special type of anchor word? I don't know. I don't know what to call this.
I don't know. Is it just a like a verb? Like, are we thinking too hard about it? Is it just?
We are thinking too hard. I'm trying to come up with another example, like having the city's blessing. Thanks.
Wait, what was that, Dirk?
To move or fall downward.
Will somebody punch Dirk, please?
It's like, you know what? I'm just going to pull up the dictionary and we'll go with what we got.
I played a lot of Descent on the PC back in the day.
Oh, jeez. So. Mike, please, just go.
I'm like trying to think of another, but like there were cards in original Ixalan, if you have the city's blessing, do blah, 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 blah. And it had reminder text, you have the city's blessing, if to do. So it's one of those things. We don't know exactly what to call it. Anyway, it just checks to see whether a permanent has been put into your graveyard from anywhere, and some of them count how many.
Yeah. This is
we'll get to those.
Weird one. This is a weird one because on the show, I wasn't sure what I was watching. I had to, after the show was over, I had to go back and watch part of it again because I felt like it was being used in different ways. And
I think the fact that descended and then descend with a number are in the same set is probably not good.
This is not my favorite part. Not that the cards are bad, but because it's so. Hey Chewy, what does the Brood Rage Mycolid Mycoid do?
Oh, is it Urcoid? I'm sorry. So for 3 and a black, it's a common fungus. So 4/3, it's a common fungus. Just get you some tough actin' Tenactin. Hashtag not sponsored. Hashtag John Madden. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended this turn, that's a personal question, create a 1/1 black fungus creature token with this creature can't block. And it says, you descended if a permanent card was put into your graveyard from anywhere. So it's got to be a permanent. Because at first I was like, oh, so it's something dies? No, because it's not from the battlefield. It's from anywhere. And then later, when we get to the ones that count, I was like, oh, it's like Threshold. No, because it's only permanents.
It's only permanents. And there are ways to mill yourself in the set. So, again, they're from anywhere. So. Yeah. Hey, Dirk, do you want to read the Myco Tyrant?
Myco Tyrant.
Myco Tyrant for 1 black-green is a legendary creature, elder fungus that's mythic and has power and toughness of star. So it says it has trample. Always a good start. The Myco Tyrant's power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control that are fungi and or saplings.
Oh, God. Sorry, I didn't realize saplings were back.
At the beginning of your end step, create X 1/1 black fungus creature tokens with this creature can't block, where X is the number of times you descended this turn.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
But because... Okay, so wait. They're permanents. Which means if you sacrifice all of the fungus tokens from last turn, it'll count those. And you'll get them all back.
If you stacked them, yeah.
Yeah, like if you do something with them that causes them all to go to the graveyard, then you'll just get them all back. Because it says permanents, it doesn't care if they're still in the graveyard or not. It just cares if they went there.
Yeah, which is important since tokens don't stay in the graveyard, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a neat card.
Yeah.
And it even looks like an elder fungus. Ugh. All right, so we've got things that care about if you've descended. We've got things that care about the number of things. Wait, it says permanent cards? Oh, it does say permanent card. I'm so sorry, RTFC.
I didn't. Yep.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Okay. So everything that I just said was wrong. Thank you, chat. Because it's a permanent card. So tokens are not cards, even though they make tokens that are physically cards. As far as the game is concerned, they're not cards.
Yeah. So, okay, new card to this. We're still reading, so okay.
All right, so it's balanced then to where you can't sacrifice all of your fungi the tokens that you got last turn and get them all back, because I was like, that seems way too good. I'm gonna bring that up. Well, it's not that good because that would be busted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's to the graveyard from anywhere. So if you if something dies, a permanent card, or if you mill it, or if you discard it, or if extremely niche, if something goes from exile to the graveyard.
Yeah, one of the processors from Return to Battle for whatever the heck Zendikar.
Return to Battle for Zenda in a Stratia Strixhaven. All right, so then we've got these other things. And this is not descended. This is descend.
No. Yes, and I kind of almost wish they'd used a different word.
I really do, but I guess because it involves permanents and graveyards, they wanted it to be related.
I guess.
And I'm sure that they did lots of like testing and whatnot to figure out if they should have the same name or not or whatever. I'm guessing
is essentially this is like Threshold 2.0, but this specifically cares about permanent cards in your graveyard.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that they're doing this because they said a while ago they didn't like Threshold because it requires you to have be checking a zone that you ordinarily wouldn't keep checking, at least not casually. So, but they wanted to do it, so here we are. So, what are we talking about, Mike?
So it's so this is actually an ability word like Threshold, and they've set two different levels here, 4 and 8, that they're going to be using in this set, which is interesting because one of the original playtest designs for Threshold did involve different numbers on different cards, but it kind of turned into a mess. But here they're just sticking to two different levels. The example here is the Didact Echo, which is a 3/2 Spirit Cleric for 4 and a blue that's common. And when it enters the battlefield, you draw a card. Okay? Pretty simple. It has a Descend 4 ability, and this one says Didact Echo has flying as long as there are 4 or more permanent cards in your graveyard.
Nice.
Yeah. They don't give a specific example of something with Descend 8, but we can assume. I mean, it's easy to figure out what that'll look like.
They showed one on the stream, and it's kind of ridiculous, but it should be. So
yeah, like getting 8 not just 8 cards, but 8 permanent cards in your graveyard is not super easy to do.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. If we have time, we can look at it before we go. But
I mean, we can go look at it real quick. What color was it in? Do you remember?
It's in blue, and it's called the Ever-Flowing Well. Oh. So Chewy, if you haven't seen it, you should totally take it. It's right next to the Enigma Jewel.
Hang on. Oh, here we go. Ever-Flowing Well. For 2 and a blue, it is a legendary artifact. It says, when the Ever-Flowing Well enters the battlefield, mill 2 cards, then draw 2 cards. Oh, okay, that's cool. And then it has Descend 8. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 8 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, transform the Ever-Flowing Well. And it transforms into the Myriad Pools. Oh, that's cool. And the Myriad Pools is a legendary artifact land that says tap to add blue. Okay. Whenever... That's hard to read. Is this one easier to read? It is not. Whenever you cast a permanent spell using mana produced by the Myriad Pools, up to one other target permanent you control becomes a copy of that spell until end of turn? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which, becomes then, again, a copy of whatever. Because it's a permanent spell. Just to make it easy, like, you have out a land, because this says one other target permanent, a land you have becomes that creature for this turn. So, don't do it with legendaries, but otherwise, flip over the Myriad Pool to the Myriad Pools, tap for a blue, use it to play a Lord of the Pit, and turn your swamp into a Lord of the Pit until end of turn. Hopefully it's already been out for a turn and you hit somebody with it really hard. Just for an example. Or you copy the Enigma Jewel and one of them goes away because it's legendary.
Wah, wah.
And Dark already has a headache anyway.
So yeah. That is pretty ridiculous, as it should be, again, for Descend 8. But we're not done with Descend yet.
No. Since there's also Fathomless Descent.
Which is yet a third word. Yeah,
and it basically just means, descend where it has some sort of scaling effect, depending on how many permanent cards in your graveyard. Perfect example here is Song of Stupefaction for 1 and a blue. It's an aura enchantment. It looks common. Enchant creature or vehicle. When Song of Stupefaction enters the battlefield, you may mill 2 cards. You don't have to.
May mill. Oh, that's cute.
Yeah. And then Fathomless Descent. The enchanted permanent gets -X/-0, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. So, if you got nothing, it doesn't affect it. And if you have 9 permanent cards in your graveyard, the thing gets -9/-0. So, yeah, I feel like of all of them, this one is the easiest to grasp. So, yeah.
So we've got Descended. We've got Descend 4, Descend 8, and then Fathomless Descent.
Yes.
All right. That seems really sloppy. Is that just me?
It wasn't my favorite.
It feels a little awkward.
But this next mechanic is my favorite mechanic of the set.
Oh, well, yeah. It's because it's really good. But before we get there, I'm sure these are all very simple to grok, and we won't care quickly.
Right. The cards are fine. The naming convention is what's kind of getting us.
Yeah, and again, I think that the naming convention won't even matter once it's not new. No one will ever get confused by this once they've played with it a little bit. So, we're not saying like I'm not saying oh it's kind of sloppy, which means it's bad design or anything like that. Like I'm sure that's all fine. For all of the problems I have with Wizards, card design is absolutely not one of them.
No.
So it just on a surface level it just feels sloppy. I can't think of a better word.
Yeah. Just like
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to put my finger on it.
Yeah.
But because we've got things that are descended, have you descended? That's a personal question. And then there's descend, which is similar but not the same. And then there's fathomless descent, which is sort of the same but counting. And it's just weird. But again, I know, at least I hope, that it all works together perfectly and smoothly, and there won't be a problem other than the stupid names. So Brian is very excited about Discover.
Yes, I am. Because I like Cascade.
Right?
And this is a better version of Cascade.
Ooh, I don't know if I'd say better.
Okay, that's true. Because this is... Okay, so... I know Cascade is not in the set, but the comparison is inevitable. So what does Cascade say? Cascade says, hey, when you cast this spell, start revealing cards from the top of your library until you hit a non-land card with converted mana cost less than this card's. And that's important because they don't want you to keep doing the same one over and over again, Squadron Hawk style. But the number on Cascade is always set by whatever this card's mana cost is. And then when you hit that card, you either play it and cast it, or it remains exiled. Yeah. This is Discover, and it's going to look very similar. Discover will have a number. So it is set by that number, not by the card's mana cost. Right. That's doing the discovering. Flavor text here for this guy, Geological Appraiser. He's for 2 and 2 red. He's a 3/2 Human Artificer. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, discover 3. So notice that 3, not 4 for his mana cost. And then the reminder text is for Discover 3, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card with mana value 3 or less. Cast it without paying its mana cost, or put it into your hand. That's what makes it different. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. So sometimes, maybe you don't want, if you're cascading and you hit 4, you don't want to cast Wrath of God this turn. But maybe you want to later. So you can choose. The fact that this card has Discover 3 means you're not going to hit another Appraiser. That's good. This also gives them the ability to cast or create cards with higher Discover cards. Like if you flip over to the card database, again, the visual spoiler, whatever they're calling it these days, we have a card in red called Hit the Motherlode. Hey, Dirk, read Hit the Motherlode. It's in red.
Where is that?
Oh, it's in red.
The card image gallery?
Yeah, it's in the card image gallery.
Hit the Motherlode for 4 and 3 red. It's a sorcery. Discover 10. If the discovered card's mana value is less than 10, create a number of tapped treasured tokens equal to the difference.
And what's it cost?
4 and 3 red.
So it costs 7. So the fact that you can have these cards, that the card costs a certain amount to cast, but then the discover number is not tied to that, can let you do stuff like Hit the Motherlode. And by the way, Hit the Motherlode looks awesome. It really does.
Yeah, so. That's pretty cool.
Is that an awesome red rare? Because I think that's an awesome red rare.
Yeah, well,
Even if it ends up,
it's not an enchantment, so it's fine.
that's true. That's true. This is more of the insurrection camp, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, you
Yeah,
could hit an
definitely.
insurrection with this.
Ah!
Now, it is
So
important to note, just like Cascade, the first time you hit a non-land card that has the correct cost, you can't be like, I don't feel like that and keep going. You do whatever the first one is. So you may play hit the mother load and turn up brainstorm, which is kind of awesome because you'll get what 9 treasure
9
tokens,
treasure
but
tokens, yeah.
but maybe you were hoping for the Godsire or something like that. So you can't be like, oh, but this wasn't 10. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But no, the fact that also, again, we said this real quick, that you don't have to cast the card immediately gives you so much flexibility.
Yeah.
So,
Also, we should point out Brian said this earlier. Cascade is when you cast the spell with Cascade, but like the Geological Appraiser is when it enters the battlefield.
that's true, and that's an important distinction because then the way that Cascade worked was that you cast, say, a creature spell with Cascade, and you hit a sweeper for like Wrath of God. You still get to keep your creature because the Wrath of God goes off, and then the creature finishes resolving. That's not going to be the case with Geological Appraiser. He's going to be there. He's going to be like, look at what I dug up. Boom. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, chat pointed out it says on this one you have to cast him. Yeah, yeah, but the ability doesn't happen when you cast him. It happens when he enters the battlefield. I was talking about timing for
Yeah.
that. So yeah, if
Right.
you play Geological Appraiser and you hit a like a Pyroclasm, 3 mana, deal 2 damage to all creatures, and you choose to cast it, you're going to lose your Geological Appraiser. Whereas with Bloodbraid Elf, you could Bloodbraid Elf, hit Pyroclasm, kill a bunch of stuff, Bloodbraid Elf hits the ground, and then is good.
And it's off to the races. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's
So
the
that
important
is
distinction.
So yeah, this one you do still have to cast. And I'm sure, I hope all of them say that.
I mean, that's to avoid like stupid blink shenanigans.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I hope that all of the permanents with Discover have to
Like
be
hit
cast.
the mother load doesn't have to say it because it's a sorcery.
Because it's a
what
sorcery.
it
Yeah,
does.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
So that is Discover.
And yeah, it is. You can't. Okay, one person in chat said this feels almost strictly better, and I try to never use that word because it's different, and the timing on that is the main thing that makes it different.
Yeah.
If Cascade didn't work on cast and worked on enter the battlefield, then I'm pretty sure this would be strictly better, right? Like,
It would be pretty close. The fact that again it has the number means, they can monkey around with it a bit too.
True.
So I'm wondering if you won't see any like super low amounts because it's not the high amounts that get them in trouble. It's the low amounts because
yeah,
the low amounts mean that you can build the combo deck where
you can tailor your deck around it.
Yeah, I don't have any 2-drops. Therefore, my Cascade 3 is always going to hit my insert card from Time Spiral with suspend, here, that doesn't have a mana cost.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I do like that they've improved on Cascade and made it more I don't know, user friendly.
Yeah. If you had told me a week ago, hey, they're going to release a version of Cascade that is maybe even possibly better, I'd be like, you are so, out of it right now, Brian. You got to stop
Are you even high
what you're
right now?
doing.
Like, what are you
Yeah,
talking about?
yeah, because Cascade is kind of busted. So the fact that the fact that we even have pseudo Cascade in standard is kind of nutty.
Yeah.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right. So now explore. Wait, explore is returning, right? Yeah.
Explore is returning.
Yes.
And they're lumping in something that's new, but yeah.
Okay. So wait, Mike, remind us what explore is.
So explore is when you're told to explore. So explore is usually on creatures. So or something happens and you explore with a creature when you're told to explore. So you reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, it goes to your hand. Otherwise, the creature that was exploring gets a +1/+1 counter, and you get to choose about whether to leave the revealed card on top of your library or put it into the graveyard.
Which putting into the graveyard will, if it's a permanent, which it may very well be, will trigger descend.
Yes,
You
it
will
will
have
qualify
descended.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Explorer was it was like a creature friendly version of Scry, I think is how we put it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever.
Sounds right.
Yeah. Because with Scry you look at it and you put it on the top or on the bottom. But with this you get a +1/+1 counter creature and you put it on the top or in the graveyard. Or you could just get it if it's a land, but we'll just ignore that because, of course, you're exploring. Of course, you're looking for lands. That's what explore means. Anyway. So wait, what is the new? Oh, the map token.
New thing is map tokens because it's still explore, but it's a little sort of like not portable explore, but kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
A map token is an artifact. It's only created by something that says make a map token or create a map token. It just sits there, and all of them have the ability pay 1, tap, and sacrifice this artifact. Target creature you control explores. Activate only as a sorcery.
Yeah. So it's like
That's
a clue or a treasure or a junk or a food. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a token artifact that has a defined sacrifice ability that's always the same.
And this one's pretty neat. You do need to have a creature to target to explore. So
yeah,
if you get a map token and you have no creatures out, you cannot activate its ability until you do.
Oh, that's true because there's no target. Yeah,
correct.
And remember, just to clear up any confusion, sacrificing a map token is not descending because it's not a permanent card.
It's not correct. I wonder how much trouble that's going to get people in. At least until they get it figured out.
Yeah, the pre-release is going to be like, oh, come on.
And then there's one last thing they note here, which is, as they put it in the video, this is more just putting a counter, creating a new kind of counter that they have been wanting to do for years. Because we've been seeing the whole, like, bring this card back from the graveyard, but then when it dies, it gets exiled. They've been doing that since, what was Shards of Alara? Was it Unearth? That was the Grixis? Yeah.
Unearth.
Yeah. So now they have finality counters. So a permanent with a finality counter on it, or a creature with a finality. If a creature with a finality counter would die, exile it instead. That's inherently built into the counter.
Yeah.
That's it. It's kind of like how every now and then, they made vigilance a keyword instead of like this creature doesn't tap to attack. This is just a way of making that easier, and it allows them to apply it to more things. So.
Yeah. And the intrepid paleontologist here is actually really cool. For 1 and a green, it's a rare human druid. She's a 2/2. She taps for 1 mana of any color. Nice. Pay 2 to exile target card from a graveyard. Which, in this set, I don't think we need to tell you, seems pretty powerful. But also, you may cast dinosaur creature spells from among cards you own, exiled with Intrepid Paleontologist. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So if she goes digging around in your graveyard and finds a dinosaur, then she can bring it back for one last go.
As you pointed out, in this set, her ability to just exile cards from graveyards can keep somebody off of their descend 8 or fathomless and that sort of stuff. It can keep them off of that. So yeah, that's pretty good. There's a reason why this is a rare. So
yeah, like it's a mana dork and that taps for any color and it eats graveyards. Like those are the important parts. The dinosaur bit is just fun.
Yeah. It is important to note there that, as it says, you know, if it's a dinosaur card that you own, so if you exile an opponent's dinosaur card from their graveyard with this ability, you can't then cast it.
Right.
So.
And also, just before someone, well, actually, is us, it's not like Unearth, because Unearth said if a creature would go anywhere, it gets exiled instead. Yeah, we know.
Uh-huh.
This is just die. So you can bounce creatures with finality counters, and it's fine. You can blink creatures with finality counters on it, and it's fine.
You can exile them with the Enigma Jewel, and it's fine.
Sure, yeah.
The Enigma Jewel is going to be just that thing that, yeah. So, it's actually before 10 o'clock. I don't know if Dirk's doing okay. I'm doing okay, but there are other cards. That is the end of the mechanics article.
Yep.
There are other cards we can look at in the card image gallery if we want, or we can talk about other things, but I'm happy to talk about this. And I noticed several cards in the video that I was like, those aren't there, and they're in this. They just weren't in the mechanics article. So.
Instead of spending more time here, do we want to talk about the booster thing since we didn't?
We can talk about the booster thing. Yeah. Can I say one card? Just one card.
Yeah, go for it. What color?
Chewy, I want you to read it. It's in black. It's called Souls of the Lost.
Oh, I was going to go try to find the... Okay, well then you go find the booster article while I read the card.
I'll go find the booster article while you do that.
All right, Souls of the Lost. Oh, this is the not Goyf.
Yeah, I didn't know if you'd seen it or not.
Yeah, so the not Goy, I spotted it in the Discord. By the way, if you're listening to this, you should join the Manipool Discord. We make a thread, well, Chifuji, honestly, is the one who does it, makes a thread for every new set release so that the main MTG channel isn't just constantly choked with whatever the latest reveal is. And it works pretty well. So... Plus, there's all the other reasons to join the Discord, but preview threads are always pretty good. But Souls of the Lost, for 1 and a black, is that rare? Yeah, a rare spirit that says, as an additional cost to cast the spell, discard a card or sacrifice a permanent. And it has Fathomless Descent. Its power is equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. And its toughness is that +1.
Yeah. So it's Goyf-like.
Yeah, it's not Tarmogoyf-like, it's Lurgoyf-like.
Yeah,
yes.
More traditional Goyf.
Yeah, so instead of
not
being...
every Goyf is Tarmogoyf, yeah.
Yeah. Instead of being... silly, but it's one that kickstarts itself by sacrificing a permanent or discarding a card that I assume you would want to be a permanent just to make it bigger. So like turn 1, crack a fetch land. Turn 2, let's get silly. Crack a fetch land. Play Souls of the Lost. Discard a something. So now you've got a turn 2, 3/4.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you did have to discard a card in your hand, but you know it's Magic. It's in your graveyard. That's basically your hand.
Basically.
And it's Spirit instead of oh yeah, like Chad just pointed out, it's a Goyf with a relevant creature type instead of a completely insular thing that no one will ever care about ever. Lurgoyf, it's a Spirit. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay. So we got plenty others to talk about some other time, but we have not talked about the thing that I think everybody was talking about last week. We didn't even, I mentioned to the guys, we haven't even talked about like changes in Magic for so long. We haven't even addressed the fact that Standard is now 3 years long instead of 2. And short Cliff Notes version of that, I don't like that. I really don't. I know people are like, yeah, I can play with my cards longer. I'm like, yeah, and I have to see this one stupid card I'm so sick of for another year. I don't.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a mess. And the first year or so of it, I think there might have to be more bans to clear old stuff away that's just too good and is not letting new cards do anything.
It will absolutely lead to more bans. So, but that really only matters to people that play Standard, which may apply to you, it may not. If you buy Magic product, the next thing we're going to talk about is probably relevant to you.
Yeah, so you remember, oh god, Project Booster Fun?
I remember Project Booster Fun. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so does Pepperidge Farm, where they announced, all right, we've got boosters. We're going to call those draft boosters now. And then we're going to make set boosters. Except the set booster is where you can get cards that aren't in the set. I still despise that name. And then we're going to have collector's boosters where you can get all the fancy stuff and whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't that easy? And everybody went, what?
And then they were like, wow, set boosters are really outpacing draft boosters. But I think most of the stores were saying, like, that's because you won't let us order draft boosters anymore, and you're pushing the set boosters. So it's kind of like this self-fulfilling prophecy. So, and I'm not here to get into, like, conspiracy theories or whatever. It's just, you start to see less and less draft boosters and more set boosters.
Yeah.
So why is that a problem? The problem is that you're now putting out at least 2, if not more, types of products, and people are inevitably going to favor one over the other one, which means you're killing your own product.
Yeah. Side note, was it Troll and Toad who recently got out of selling Magic?
I think so, yeah. I think I heard about that.
Troll and Toad bailed, yeah.
Yeah,
they were like, we don't have any confidence in Magic's ability to allow us to make money anymore, so we're out. And that blew my mind.
Yeah. And like also keeping up with all the variants and the different releases. Because Troll and Toad, I mean, there were some times where I was just searching for something. I'm like, I cannot find this freaking thing but I knew Troll and Toad would have it in their database because they had a really extensive database of like every version of things, even some things that I had never heard of before.
Yeah. So
what exactly is Troll and Toad for those that are unfamiliar with it?
It's a third-party card selling thing.
Yeah, okay. one of the OGs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that they have now said they're not doing anything more with Magic, that's huge. Magic for a long time, because how many card games, collectible card games or trade card games, have come and gone over the last 30 years?
Like all of them.
But Magic has had ups and downs, combo winter and affinity and whatnot, but it's still there. It's still stable. So the fact that they're like, nah,
I mean,
that's
it's still stable in that Wizards of the Coast keeps regularly releasing good product, but
and people
as far
buy
as
it.
the secondary market, I don't think it's been stable for a good little while now.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's the year 2023 of our Lord, and
our Lord Mark Rosewater.
Yep, and
or Todd Howard if you're a Bethesda person.
And they've had Booster Fund going for a while now, and they've decided, you know what, this isn't working. So Mark Rosewater released an article last week talking about how they're essentially going to be getting rid of draft boosters and set boosters, and just going to what's called a play booster, I think.
Yeah.
And he was also very careful to say, and I think he actually said on Twitter later, we're not eliminating draft, because I think people were like, they're killing draft. That's not what they're doing.
They are drastically changing draft, though.
They are. This is going to be big. And the other thing to keep in mind is that this is not effective with Caverns of Ixalan. This is effective with Murders at Karlov Manor.
Okay, thank you. I was about to scroll down to try to find where they said where they said that.
So his article goes into the issues like problems, set boosters eclipse draft boosters, cause inventory problems, and those are all very good points. I don't know that unless Chewy want to, we don't have to like dissect this.
No.
We're really kind of going into what they're doing, not necessarily every reason that they're doing it. But a lot of this almost reads like an apology letter. So the play boosters now. So draft boosters are 15 cards. I don't know how many cards in the set boosters. I'm one of those old school guys that never really. I mean, I got a couple, but I never analyzed it. So the new makeup for play boosters is slots 1 through 6 are common, so you're always going to get those. Slot 7 is either common or on the list.
And the list is being condensed down to, what is it, 50 cards, I think it said?
I think so, because it was like, how many was it before?
Oh, God, it was like hundreds.
Yeah. So they were so proud of this idea, and honestly, I was never like super enthusiastic about it. The fact that it's still here, I don't know, but maybe people like it. Slots 8, 9, and 10 are uncommons. So that's not changing, because it's generally been in Draft Boosters 3 uncommons. And then slot 11 is a rare or mythic rare. Slot 12 is a basic land. Slot 13 is a non-foil wild card. So could be anything that's not a foil. Slot 14 is a foil wild card. And then slot 15, remember, this is 14 cards, but there is a slot 15 for an add card, a token card, or an art card, or a helper card. Maybe that's like the dungeons from the Dungeons and Dragons.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah. So it's 14 playable cards. That does include the basic land. So
it's one less draftable card.
Yeah.
But
which in the grand scheme of things, you think about how many do you have? At least 3 cards, one in each booster, that you don't end up playing. Depends on the draft, I guess.
Like draft chaff is massive.
That's a thing. Yeah.
So not only that, but because they design sets around the booster, like they're gonna be changing how they design sets.
Yeah. Hey, real quick. I was reading ahead. Sorry, I hate to interrupt, but this is weird. So I had read this, but I was skimming this again. So slot 12 on their little chart says basic land. If you go to the explainer, it says 12 slot land. This slot will always hold a basic or common land card from the main set. Yeah. So that may not be a basic. It will always be a land.
Okay, yeah, like the guild things from Ravnica.
Yes. Yeah. So I thought that was a bit distracting about how that may or may not be accurate. I hate to interrupt. Go ahead.
So yeah, they're going to be changing the way that they design sets, which people threw numbers in the Discord, but that I'm not seeing here necessarily. But like, so yeah, there will be 10 special guest cards and 40 reprints. So the list is 50 cards, down from the 300 cards that others had. So they're really compressing what the list is. Okay, here we go. We have to change how we made sets. How we design sets is heavily influenced by the means we package it in boosters. So this is one of the reasons it took them so long to do anything about the boosters. Is that they're going to have to change how they do things. So he says they're going to get into the nitty-gritty of how design structures change when they get into Murders at Karlov Manor. But I said people in the Discord had numbers, and I don't know where they got those from.
We just got something in the chat.
Oh, did we?
A link to it.
Oh, hang on. Where's the chat? Oh, it was in a Tumblr reply, of course. Because heaven forbid we put Discord app detected. No, continue in browser. What is this? This is a Discord link there, Chifuji. I think you just tried to invite me to my own server. So hang on. If he got that link from the Discord, yeah, here it is. Oh, it was a Discord image. All right, open in browser. Here we go. So they're going to lower the number of commons in each set from 101 to 80 and increasing uncommons from 80 to 100.
That's a big shift.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot more variance in the uncommon slots and a lot less variance in the common slots. That will change. That will noticeably change the limited experience.
But limited's going to change in other slightly more sinister ways too, because set boosters were more expensive than draft boosters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the price of these new play boosters is going to follow the set booster price.
Yes.
And Prilliman, of course, of all people, pointed out in the Discord that oh god, where is it? Hang on. I summed it up, but I want to make sure that I find it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because the play boosters are more expensive. Buying a box of play boosters is going to be more expensive than buying a box of draft boosters, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, set boosters came in boxes of 30 packs. Set boosters were 30 packs instead of 36. But the new play boosters are going to come in boxes of 36.
Because they're meant to be
drafted. Which means no matter which one you used to buy, it's going to be more expensive.
Yep.
So because the set booster is the same as the play booster, but there's more in a box, the box is more expensive. And because there's the same number as draft boosters, but they're more expensive, it's more expensive than the draft booster box too. which means buying a box is more expensive, which means drafting is going to be more expensive, which means basically it's a really clever way to just raise the price of Magic in general.
In general. Yep.
But because Wizard, as it was pointed out in the Discord again, because Wizards doesn't tell us the MSRP anymore, everyone's just going to assume, well, I think what they might be counting on people just assuming the store is charging more. Which I know is kind of crappy, but again, I have no faith in Wizards of the Coast anymore as a business. So it's it raises the price for everybody except as Chifuji pointed out, the people who only buy collector's boosters, because collector's boosters are not being touched. They're the same. Just don't worry about them.
For now.
As far as this announcement is concerned, collector's boosters are not being touched.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah.
It's always subject to change.
So, but it raises the price of drafting. It raises the price of just buying boosters. And it is going to drastically change how sets are designed, which I actually think is good. Because, like, crappy commons that are just draft chaff. Like, we've got a word for it. It's called draft chaff. Like, no one cares. It's just crap. Yeah. Judges have been having problems with people leaving their draft chaff on tables for years and years and years. So this is going to cut down on some of that. Because with less commons and more uncommons, there are going to be more cards that you probably want to hang on to. Mm-hmm. Oh, Razorback said play boosters are more expensive than set boosters, actually. Oh. Okay, then. I thought I saw in here when I read this a week ago that they were going to be the same, but clearly I don't read everything that everybody says, so it's possible I missed something somewhere. So, yeah, it's a big change. Now, remember, this doesn't happen until Murders at Karlov Manor, which is 2-3 sets away. I don't even know anymore.
It's either next year or the year after. It's not.
I think it's next year. Away. Yeah, I think that's in 2024. So, oh, it said in relation to display boxes, so it's more for the okay. So yeah. Ignore that last part. There, it's following along the set booster price, which is more expensive than draft boosters. So yeah. That is huge news. That a lot of people were sort of angry about because, again, it's a giant way to increase the cost of everything. But there are massive, like, implications on the even as far down as design, so that this, I don't think this one is an especially, like, evil corporation move at all.
No, and the fact that there's one less type of booster, I'm okay with.
Yeah, having, and it doesn't have a stupid name. The set booster, which is the one where you can get cards that aren't from the set, just has always pissed me off. And you know that because you hear me say it every time I mention set boosters. So, yeah, I think reducing the overall number of SKUs or individual products is a good move. So, yeah. Anything else about play boosters? I like the name too. Just while we're on that, play booster is a good name.
It is.
Razorback said, "I think a lot of people's issues with it came from the announced ban and restricted announcement being used just as a vehicle for the play booster ad." Oh, really? Huh. I think I missed that. Because this was announced on the day when there was supposed to be a ban and restricted list update, and people were like, "All right, are they finally going to ban whatever annoying card in standard is?" And nope, but they're announcing new boosters. Like, I can see why that would annoy people. Yeah, like maybe wait a day to make that announcement. Seems like a bit of a bait and switch. Clickbait, even. Oh. Man, we covered a lot of stuff.
Helps that we got started,
super early for us. Yeah, we covered the Marvel thing, the Fallout thing, the Ixalan mechanics, and a couple of cards, and then play boosters. Man, this is like an episode of Monday Night Magic. Chifuji said, "I'm almost certain that all of the local game stores out there will appreciate this change." And I think he's right. I saw a lot of people that work at game stores complaining that, like Brian said, they're like, "Oh, set boosters are outperforming draft boosters." Like, yeah, you won't let us buy more boxes of draft boosters. But also, like, you want to buy the draft boosters for your limited people, but also set boosters for the normal people. Or the normal people for the not.
As a limited player, I do take offense at that.
Yeah, it's not what I meant. But for your basic ass pack cracking customers, and you're not gonna have like too much of this kind of booster and not enough of that kind of booster anymore. I think that is overall a good move for them, considering that Wizards hasn't really done anything to help local game stores out in a hot minute. So I guess this is, incidentally helping them out. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so should we wrap it up then, gentlemen, or do we have anything else to say on the matter?
I think we've covered it pretty well.
I agree.
All right. And Mike's silence is complicity as always.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well, how about some final thoughts then, my dorks?
Okay. So, I guess I'll go first, and then I will be heading out to try to get a motion typed up for tomorrow, if that's okay with everybody. And whether it is or not, I need to do it. So, but set looks really interesting. I don't know if going into the video today, because I really hadn't followed any spoilers or whatever so far, if I was that excited, just because I've been playing a lot of Lorcana lately. Sam just had her birthday, so I've had a lot going on. I knew this was kind of out there, but I hadn't really paid attention to it. Watched the video and discussing it with you guys, I'm like, yes, because I'm a big Cascade fan, so Discover just jives well with me, and I don't love the naming conventions for Descend, but I think I like what the cards are gonna do, and any set that has something like crafting, I think I'm gonna pay attention to. So set looks great. Really curious to come back next week, not on Halloween, and discuss it when I'm sure we'll have a bunch more to talk about. And still playing Lorcana, still enjoying that. Wish we had more cards, but hopefully more will be coming soon. But otherwise, I'm doing just dandy. Thank you all for joining us, and hope everybody has a great night or whenever you're listening to it.
Hey Brian, before you leave.
Yes, before I go.
Bill, just a couple minutes ago, sent me a picture of Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies flavored ice cream. And I desperately want to try that now.
It's no popcorn ice cream, but little,
Because, I love the oatmeal cream pies. I use them as a snack during streams here. I'm surprised I haven't gotten one tonight while we've been doing the show, but it's because I'm saving room for the popcorn for later. But
a wise choice.
He sent it and said streaming approved ? Because he knows how I am. So yeah, that's I'm gonna send that to Renee.
Sweet.
But I thought I'd share that with you. Well, since we were talking about weird flavored ice creams earlier.
No, I appreciate it. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Night, B.
All right.
Dirk, what you got?
Just making sure that I didn't have myself muted or anything. I really don't have any final thoughts or anything like that. I'm looking forward to the end of this week. It's a teacher work day because the end of the quarter, and just looking forward to have be a break away from the kiddos to sort of plan out what I'm doing the next little bit. So, like I've been on top of making sure I have everything, but I'm a little behind on getting grades in, so I'm looking forward to getting all that stuff done. And hopefully not staying up all night with a runny nose.
Yeah, no doubt.
We'll see what happens. So, and with that, I'm headed off to bed. So, nothing major or anything on my end.
Well, good luck not dying, sir.
I'll do my best.
Rule 1.
All right. Good night, guys.
Night, sir.
Good night.
Mike?
Sorry.
You know what? Just for that, I'm going to remind people to go to patreon.com/themanapool. Join the Patreon, where you can get stuff. And, hey, including the Mythic Lifeguard shout-out. Like these people. Al, Kim Ho, Scuzzo, John Parker. Excuse me. The burp sound is not a patron. But I tried to talk them into supporting. Where did I stop? Jake Jansen's Beardy Man, Timu Helisaru, Jason Kaus, Casey, Jason Doan, ALK Alters, and Andrew Odie. Yay, thank you. Okay, now what's your final thought, Sneezy Boy?
Okay. Sorry.
I was going to interrupt you anyway and be like, wait, but since you sneezed, I just couldn't resist.
All right. Gosh, I don't know. I feel so discombobulated. Oh, I got a standing desk for my office area here at the house. It's one of those motorized adjustable things that can go up and down. It's nice. I've never had like there was a time where I had a proper desk in my apartment, but then that desk kind of got overgrown with stuff that was just sitting on it, and I had to kind of use part of it as a desk for working from home. Well, now I have a more spacious area, actual proper desk again, to work from, and it feels really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. It's even got these little hooks on the side where I can set
hang meat,
a headset.
Oh,
I could hang meat. I don't have any yet. I'd keep that downstairs in the fridge. But we'll see.
I mean, depending on how cold your office is, I'm just saying. All of a sudden we hear, I was like, what you doing, Mike? I'm eating my hanged meat. Oh, all right then.
But yeah, house is still coming along slowly. Oh, the annual HOA meeting was last night. That was interesting to go to. It wasn't the stereotypical kind of like weird, petty, whatever HOA meeting, but
white people exerting power sort of thing.
There were very slight hints of that, but I understand where the stereotypes come from. But no, it seemed reasonable. The people on the board seemed like they were actually interested in doing a good job versus just being authoritized. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any more boring, non old man adult things to talk about right now.
Fair enough. Let's see. For me, I started playing Alan Wake for spooky season.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got through the first 3, what are they called? Episodes. It's like the first 3 levels, essentially.
Yeah.
Over 2 streams, and then stopped because I was like, I'm going to finish this game way before Halloween. So I'll be picking that up again this week. But the gameplay is whatever. Like, it's a 2010 third-person action horror game, whatever. But the story... Did you ever see In the Mouth of Madness?
Did I ever see it? No.
It's a John Carpenter movie with Sam Neill that's very H.P. Lovecraft, cosmic horror, unknowable nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's one of my favorites. Like, I love it. And I'm getting serious In the Mouth of Madness vibes from the story of Alan Wake. And it is pretty cool. Like, I'm very excited to get back into it and see what the hell is going on. And the hiccups. Let's not forget them. They're important. Other than that, I've been playing Final Fantasy II still and Sea of Stars. It's just so good, Mike. Oh my god, dude.
Good.
And yeah. As far as things I've been watching, I started watching for the first time ever the Friday the 13th series. Because on Friday the 13th, I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch Friday the 13th. And it was bad.
Oh, really?
Like, it was not good. I did not realize that literally the only thing that happens is a bunch of teenagers die. Like...
Oh, it's that thin?
Yeah. Because Friday the... my theory is the reason that Friday the 13th became a massive franchise is because it was the first of the, oh god, Halloween did gangbusters, let's rip it off.
Oh.
Like,
Halloween
if something... Yeah, Halloween wasn't the first slasher movie, but it was the first, like, mainstream popular slasher movie. And it set all the tropes. And then Friday the 13th, and the dude, Sean Cunningham, like, admits this. He's like, yeah, we were trying to capitalize on Halloween. But they, instead of going for story, they went for, like, gore and shock value. But weirdly, the gore and shock value are not as gory and shock value-y as I thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the kills are like, oh, and it's over, it's done, and it cuts to something else. I was like, what is going on? But I watched the first one, and then Renee came over a night or two later, and I was like, hey, you want to watch Friday the 13th Part 2? And she was like, hell yeah. And we watched Part 2, and it was better.
Okay.
Like, as an entertaining film, like, it still was crap. Obviously, it's Friday the 13th. None of them are high art. But the first one, the music was really good, and the use of the POV camera and the, like, Italian, what's it called, giallo style, was there. So it had, like, hints of, like, filmmaking artistry. The second one didn't, but it was more entertaining. And then 3 got better, but it was held back because 3 was 3D. And so there was a lot of crap pointing into the camera just over and over. Renee was like, if we were playing a drinking game with this, we would die.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And at one point, the camera is over some popcorn and it pops up into the camera and I didn't say it. Like 5 minutes later, I paused and I went, Renee, you have to break up with me. She's like, what? I was like, because one of my favorite things to say whenever anyone mentions 3D is, and your popcorn is popping in the face in 3D. And the popcorn just popped in our face in 3D, Renee, and I didn't say it. She's like, I'm going to go home. But So, yeah, and we watched Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which is part 4, and it was actually good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so yeah, they started as not good, then it got slightly better, pretty good, but held back by the 3D nonsense. Like, there are several shots of a dude yo-yoing over a girl's face. Like, the camera is where her face is, and he's just yo-yoing into the camera for like 3 solid minutes or something. Like, why? Stop it. We get it. Jason gets an axe to the head, and the handle is sticking out, and he throws both his arms out in like zombie grabby motion and stalks towards the camera. And I'm like, stop it! Stop it! And then 4 was actually like better, weirdly. And I know from reputation that 5 is crap, so I'm not looking forward to watching that one. That's the one. Spoilers, that's the one without Jason, weirdly. And then there's like a smaller bell curve after that of quality. And then we get like Jason X, which is just a comedy. And then Freddy versus Jason, which is weird.
Is Jason X the one that happens in space?
Yeah.
I think that's the only one I've seen.
I've never seen it, any of them, but because I'm fascinated by things like this, like I know all about them. Like, that's how I know 5 is the one without Jason and it's bad, and then 6, one of them is like, I forget which one from the number, but one of them is Jason versus Carrie with the serial numbers filed off. It's not actually Carrie, and that one's apparently pretty good. So, yeah, I've never watched any of these, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna monster through all of these, and then I made the mistake of watching them with Renee, so now I can't watch them without her. So that's what I would go watch tonight when we were done, is watch part 5, but I don't have Renee here, so I can't.
Right.
So yeah, it's been weird. The movies were a lot more like gory and disgusting in my head than they are in the movies. Part of that, I think, is because I've been like, my brain has been tainted by the torture porn and the gritty remakes and whatnot of the last 20 years. But no, they're really goofy, and the kills are legitimately fun. Like, I'm enjoying watching these bad movies, and that's cool. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. And then last night we watched Murder on the Orient Express, the new one it's not new, it's like 6 years old, but the new one by Kenneth Branagh, where Kenneth Branagh plays Poirot. It's really good.
Yeah.
Like,
good. I'm glad to hear that.
Like, it's really good. I've been waiting on that to be on a streaming service I have for 6 years, and I just happened to see it last night. I was like, oh, Renee, can we watch this? She's like, yeah, hell yeah. And then we did, and it was really good. Like, I love Kenneth Branagh's take on Poirot.
Which streaming service is it?
It's on Hulu.
It's on Hulu. Okay, I'll need to check on that. I think we have that access to that through our phone plan, but it might be a more limited version of it. We'll see. Because I think Ashley and I were interested in that, but
I highly recommend it. Death on the Nile is also on Hulu, and I think the new one that just came out recently is gonna hit Hulu soon too. So
okay.
Like, hashtag not sponsored, but it was good. I recommend it. It's way better than the Friday the 13th movie. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. For those of you that are still watching or listening or whatever, either live or later on after I post this, what you got going on for Halloween? You doing anything good for Halloween? Because it's Halloween, you know. Spooky. I'm going to be playing Alan Wake, and then Alan Wake's American Nightmare, if I finish the first game. And if I finish them both before Halloween, I guess I'll play Separate Ways, Resident Evil 4 finally. Yeah, I think Renee is off on Halloween, so I might not stream at all. We might just do spooky things.
Cool.
But either way, I'm playing these things in the lead up to Halloween. On Halloween, nobody's going to come watch the stream, so because it's Halloween. Chifuji's watching a bunch of anime horror for the week leading up. Ooh. Nice. But okay then. So with that, I guess we'll be done. So, hey, if you're on Blue Sky, go follow me there. It's the Manipool whatever, bsky.social, whatever the default thing is. Just search for the Manipool. You'll find me. And if you're not on Blue Sky and want to be, let me know, because I've got invite codes that I can't seem to freaking give away. So, I guess everybody that wanted to be on it's on it. So, hey, Mike, you want to be on Blue Sky? No, you don't. Never mind.
No.
So, yeah. This has been episode 688 of The Manipool. I almost said Monday Night Magic because we talked about a bunch of news. That was weird. So thank you all so very much for joining me. Or joining us, rather. And I don't have an ending thing. What do you think of Play Boosters? Or Fallout? Or what's the not Cascade? Discover. Or the Marvel announcement. Let us know what you think of some of that. Either in the comments or in the Discord. Join the Discord. Or on the social media things. Whatever. I want to know what people think about all this stuff. Like, for real. Because I'm confused. So thank you all. Let me try this again. Thank you all so very much for joining us. And don't get eaten by dinosaurs.